did tune into Glenn Beck for about a minute this morning, and I had to turn it off. I just couldn't listen to his voice, and I was getting a cell phone call in my car. And I did hear him making fun of the Democrats' big documentary filmmaker, and saying, we'll see how the maker of Fahrenheit 9/11, Michael Moore, likes what I'm going to do. And the caller said he says he's going to make documentaries now. That may not be copying me, but him using all my terms and then twisting it around is. And remember, a year ago, Fox launched this website, Fox Nation, that just looks just like PrisonPlanet.com and Infowars.com and runs the same kind of news. See, they want the patriot libertarian audience, but they don't want it for their main Fox audience. And so there was an Infowars.com article about how Fox launches a clone. In fact, post that article if you can, the original article that we wrote about that. But that's the type of information. Fox launches Infowars.com clone website in attempt to cannibalize the patriot movement. And that was written back in April of 2009. And they've now taken over much of the patriot movement and are misdirecting it into pro-war, pro-Patriot Act, new taxes as the answer to Obama. And, again, that's why we've got to counter them. I've kind of ignored it. I've tried to be somewhat friendly. They've tried to do olive branches, and Fox has plugged us a lot and had me on Napolitano's show and done a few little things like that. But I just don't want to be invited to the party. I mean, it just makes me sick even thinking about it. I don't want to be on Fox News. I don't want to be with them. I don't want to go say the Muslims want to kill us, give up all your rights, Al-Qaeda's going to get you. I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm just sick of it. And yes, Glenn Beck is going to make, quote, underground documentaries. Of course he is. They know my films are devastating them. They're exposing the left-right paradigm. That's why it's so important that all of you get Fall the Republic and the Obama Deception and make copies of the DVD and never stop giving them out because it exposes them all. You can show Fall the Republic or the Obama Deception to a liberal or a conservative, and it breaks their paradigm, and the game's over. And if we could get this out to everybody, that would indeed happen. Now, a lot of people were excited today to hear that the Supreme Court had ruled against the First Amendment violations that are involved in the McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform of now 8 years ago. I'm actually looking for my articles. I had a whole bunch of them here. Here it is. Supreme Court removes limits on corporate labor donations to campaigns. And I read the ruling. All it does is take the restrictions off of labor unions and big corporations to give money 6 weeks before an election. But it left the changes in there where citizens are limited how much private money they can give. And so the original restriction doubled the amount of money corporations could give, but put limits on how close to a campaign they could do it. Now, and I've got to read the full ruling. I tried to this morning, scanned over it, but there's no mention anywhere here. And obviously it was unconstitutional to say Hillary the movie couldn't even show in theaters before an election, back during the election. Courts tried to rule that. I mean, obviously, you can make a documentary about Hillary Clinton as free speech and show it, and no campaign rule can do that. So the good news is it threw that out, but it's left, and no one's talking about that, the restrictions on, I can only give, $3,000 to Ron Paul, and then I'm done as an individual. So, but I guess individuals need to sue now so that they give their rights to give. Because now if labor unions and corporations can give unlimited, but citizens can't, we're in trouble. So it's good in that it defends some of the First Amendment, but it's unequal. It's like Obama's health care plan saying certain states and labor unions are exempt from the taxes on health care plans. I mean, you can't do that. Just like Obama said, if you're a Democratic contributor, you get to keep your 90-year-old or 70-year-old, in some of the cases, car dealership. But if you're not, we're taking it because the government runs GM. I mean, that really happened. I mean, this is so lawless. I just can't believe that this is all going on and that these people are actually getting away with this. I'm going to get into some of the other good news I've got here, but I'm going to be quite frank with you. I've let my desk get messy. I need to clean it off this tonight because the desk is just got the last week's news on it. Give me a shot on that camera so folks can see this, or maybe a document cam shot. I mean, I'm just wading in information. I'm actually drowning in it. This is 1 week of news. Last Sunday, I came in here and cleaned off my desk. And every one of these stories is just a nightmare of evil, a nightmare of government corruption. Oh. I am going to take a few days off. Every once in a while, I get really tired. When I get emotionally spent, I'm freaked out about all the work we've done, and now Glenn Beck's just taking it all over. I'm freaked out about him shutting down the gun show without a law and laughing about it. But I should be positive. I mean, so much is coming out. People are actually reading what the White House czars are saying. They're actually, TSA nominee Errol Southers withdraws. President Obama's nominee to head the Transportation Security Administration withdrew from consideration on Wednesday, saying his nomination was obstructed by political ideology. Errol Southers had faced fierce opposition from Republicans ever since news surfaced that he may have misled Congress about an incident in the late 80s involving a background check of his boyfriend of his ex-wife. I mean, yeah, they use these databases to harass people. But the real reason he got in trouble is he gave video interviews saying the number one enemy of America is Christians, and that's the number one terror threat. We played that in the last few weeks. So, the good news is this guy won't have access to your wife's naked body. I mean, he likes access to data illegally, so God knows what he'll do with the naked body scanners. Here's Beck Parrott's White House Information Czar talking points, Kurt Nimmo. That's a key story. You need to read that. H1N1 swine flu hoax falls apart at the seams. It's openly coming out that it's a criminal operation, that they're doing a criminal inquiry in the EU. Let me read some of this. I mean, here's an article from Steve Watson about it on Tuesday, and then there's another great article we got up at Infowars.com by Mike Adams of Natural News. International hearings begin on falsified swine flu pandemic. The Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, a 47-member body encompassing democratically elected members of the parliament, has begun hearings to investigate whether H1N1 swine flu pandemic was falsified or exaggerated in an attempt to profit the vaccine sales. And then it's got the director of it saying it was all hype, it was a lie, it was a fraud, the vaccine is dangerous. I mean, it sounds like Alex Jones runs that Council of Europe. In order to promote their patented drugs and vaccines against flu, pharmaceutical companies influence scientists and official agencies responsible for public health standards to alarm governments worldwide and make them squander tight health resources for insufficient vaccine strategies and needless expose millions of healthy people to the risk of an unknown amount of side effects of insufficiently tested vaccines. This is the Council of Europe speaking. The bird flu campaign of 2005-2006 combined with the swine flu campaign seem to have caused a great deal of damage not only to some vaccinated patients and to some health budgets, but to the credibility and accountability of the important international health agencies. Who's reporting this? The EU Health Board out of Strasbourg. Who else is reporting this? Fox News, Associated Press, Reuters, Washington Post. I mean, look at this. I like Mike Adams' articles. They're like InfoWars articles. He's gracious to let us post them in full. But naturalnews.com is the main site. because just every paragraph is multiple links to all the mainstream news and documents and drug inserts. And I mean, here it is: Washington Post, CDC, Reuters, Fox News. So, I mean, when you give somebody these articles by Steve Watson or by Mike Adams, let's get Mike Adams on next week. Let's get him on to talk about this in hindsight. So when somebody says, how dare you, you got to take the shot. You should be arrested if you don't take the shot. You should be sued if you don't take it, like Dr. Dean Adele said. That guy gets up there on the radio every time I hear him, because he comes on before me on the weekend on KLBJ. I listen to him. And he says, there are no side effects. It's all a lie.